What's up everyone, and welcome back to the X10 MANHWA FRESH Den. Are you mentally prepared? After so many days of waiting, we finally have our hands on the conclusion of Modulo. This isn't just an normal ending, it's a genuine shock, something that will cause the community to erupt in debate and endless arguments across all platforms. Is this ending a satisfying answer to a long journey, or has it shattered the original story, turning everything into a bitter joke? After waking up Panda, the first person Julian sought out was his old best friend, Rose. The moment they met, Rose couldn't hold back her biting words. "You're really something else. Things were going fine, and then you just vanished. Now you show up out of the blue and think a simple yo is enough to settle things?" Faced with his old friend's harshness, Julian could only stand silently, regretfully uttering an apology. In another development, the Rum-El clan has reached a mutual agreement. They will continue to live in peace with the Kalyan. For every member of the clan, this was a matter of course, because only with the Kalyan by their side could they truly call it living. No matter how the future changes, they will use every means to protect the dignity of the Kalyan. They firmly declared, "We will not let the Kalyan or anyone from the Rum-El clan be harmed by anyone." And the same goes for the other way around. When Maroon Cross recounted this, Blade was extremely surprised by the lenient treatment the Rum-El clan gave the two brothers. Meru himself also found it strange. He thought he would face a heavy punishment or imprisonment this time. But it turned out everyone just gave him a stern scolding and let it go. Meru smiled and explained, "Because the Kalyan are our family." At home, the two brothers' mother was delivering a thunderous lecture. She found it unacceptable that her sons hid their illness and recklessly went to fight aliens. No matter how well the outcome, she demanded they all seriously reflect on their actions. However, before turning to leave, she left behind warm words to soothe all wounds. "You've worked hard. My sons, all my life, I have been proud to have given birth to you. Your father would surely think the same. But next time, don't make your mother worry so much it breaks her heart, okay?" Amidst the warm atmosphere of family affection, Blade suddenly became vulnerable. Words of love, usually so rare, were now spoken by him, clumsily but with immense sincerity. Seeing her usually proud and heroic older brother suddenly turn sentimental, Lucy didn't miss the opportunity. She gently gave her brother a teasing punch on the shoulder, smiling slyly. "Wow, so you do know how to say such heart-minded stopping life frank things, huh?" But the focus of emotion was on Julian. After years of keeping the void in his heart hidden, he finally opened up about the reason for his long absence. It turned out that behind his silent demeanor was a fear that had besieged his mind. Ever since absorbing the cursed realms, Julian always felt lost, adrift on the fragile line between a cursed spirit and a human. He feared the world's gaze, afraid they would see him as a monster instead of a comrade. It was this fear that pushed him down a lonely path of avoidance. But to Rose, such thoughts were just a detestable waste of time. She was still the same, calm and resolute, making Julian's insecurities seem incredibly small. Gently stroking Panda's fur as a way to find peace, Julian slowly unburdened his heart. "I used to think I shouldn't interfere with the present anymore. After all, I should be a decrepit old man or have been lying deep in the cold earth for a long time. But I realized that if I keep running from reality because of ghosts from the past, I might never be able to see the future clearly either." After 68 long years of hiding behind a cloth, Julian finally reached up and removed his hood, revealing his true face to his old friend. Looking at his face unaged by time, Rose wasn't surprised. She just sighed softly, her eyes softening as if she had known all along. It must be so, though the wheels of time had rolled through decades. The moment they reunited, everything felt as poignant as it was in the beginning. For between them, there always existed an invisible thread, a powerful bond that not even the cruelty of years could sever. In the quiet atmosphere of their reunion, Julian began to reflect on himself. He opened up about the years he was lost, so engrossed in finding distant methods to change life that he inadvertently forgot the responsibilities that were his own. What the aliens were doing, ironically, were the very duties he had forsaken for decades. This should have been, Julian quietly told himself, a mission I completed with my own hands. Recalling his grandfather's words from long ago, Julian had an awakening. Not allowing himself to continue sinking in a fog of delusion, he decided to once again step up and bear his destiny. But this time, he was no longer alone. Julian turned and sincerely asked Rose to fight by his side, despite how supremely powerful he had now become. The feeling of being trusted and relied upon by him still gave Rose an unusually warm and satisfying feeling. However, just as the atmosphere was reaching its emotional peak, Panda suddenly jumped in, ruining the moment with an incredibly ill-time jab. You were probably just scared to go alone, so you asked me along as a third wheel, right? Seeing you to having this heart minus to minus heart, I feel my reason for existing fading at the speed of light. This surprise attack left Rose completely flustered. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry, unable to believe that after all these years, Panda's sharp tongue was still as annoyingly on minus point as ever. After their moments of catching up, Julian began to lay out a serious plan for the future because from now on, no new sorcerers would be born. Though a little worried, Rose still believed that with Todd's intelligence, this plan was entirely feasible. Julian presented his reasoning and his steps with extreme sharpness. First was the plan for purification from the source as soon as cursed spirits take form before they can act. They must be exorcised immediately. Second was the popularization of techniques, specifically teaching current sorcerers how to operate barriers in the exorcism process. Based on Master Tengen's barrier techniques, this system would maintain long minus-term stability. Third was resource control, track and thoroughly manage individuals with heavenly restrictions in the future, while also maintaining mass production of cursed tools. On this point, Panda nodded, saying that with support from the three great clans, everything would be as easy as flipping a ham. However, Julian suddenly pointed to himself and brought up the most difficult problem. After I die, I'll become a cursed object. Rose was stunned. Julian explained that for the next 3 centuries, while he's alive, he was confident he could keep the damage caused by cursed spirits at 0. The world would maintain a long minus-term period of safety. But the appearance of the aliens has made the future unpredictable. Perhaps in a few hundred years, the world will need Jumotsu again. And at that time, the only solution would be for someone to eat the cursed object he leaves behind. Rose couldn't help but joke, let's hope that in the future, there's some freak who's disgusting enough to eat a corpse just like you. But since no one knows where that cursed object will appear, Julian wanted everyone to find a backup plan together. At this, Rose suddenly became sad, quietly whispering, if only Grace were here right now. How much better would that be? This sentence seemed to leave a heavy silence, as if tacitly acknowledging that they were now separated by life and death. Meanwhile, the higher minus-ups of the Jumotsu world considered the disappearance of cursed spirits a sufficient reason to reassure the public. However, they decided to keep the secret about the lack of new sorcerers until the very last moment. Sam still harbored his own fears. He worried that the current peace would mask humanity's fatal weakness. It was very possible that in the future, opportunistic forces would use the media to turn the Sumerian aliens into political tools. Just as Sam was struggling with these troubles, Julian approached with a decisive air. This will come out sooner or later. We might as well take the initiative. Just put all the blame on me. You can just report to your superiors that Mur was only following my orders. In another corner, Lucy and Miru were gathered around watching the news. The entire earth-shattering battle between Mahoraga and Dabare had been recorded without missing a second. But ridiculously, through the words of the MCS, Mahoraga was labeled as a Shikigami once destroyed by Sage, while Dabare was suddenly turned into a righteous alien hero. Lucy exclaimed, so the dark sorcery of the new Shadow style can even film curses, huh? Sam sighed, feeling sorry for how these people were creating trouble on their own. Seeing Sam and Yabaro still engrossed in baseball, Blade curiously asked why they liked this game so much. Sam smiled and explained that as you get older, simple joys like this become incredibly precious. Exercising and chatting at the same time is the most effective way to communicate directly. When Maru and Cross joined the game, Sam shared a thoughtful philosophy. When people talk about nations or peoples, the individual is often downplayed. But in reality, people don't exist for the nation. He urged everyone to cherish these sincere moments, because the future ahead still holds countless variables. And so, the journey of the Jumotsu Modulo campaign has officially concluded. The feeling right now at X10 Manga Fresh is truly hard to describe. After all the storms and painful losses that JJK has dished out, This ending brings a sense of relief, but it's accompanied by a smoldering sense of confusion. At this point, we must admit that Maru's technique is something that lies beyond all normal frames of reference. In the world of Jumotsu Kaisen, we are all too familiar with intellectual battles, where every move is a meticulous calculation of cursed energy, activation conditions, or risky domain expansions. However, Maru's power appears as an absolute variable. It's so overpowered that it inadvertently nullifies all the tremendous efforts that came before it. The intelligent combat, the heroic sacrifices made to find an enemy's weakness, now suddenly fade before a power that can reset the world order. Maru doesn't just fight. In the end, the vision that everyone longed for has become a reality. A world where cursed spirits no longer have the power to sound error. A place where people can sleep soundly without fear of the lurking darkness. This is the dream paradise of Julian and his comrades. It's clear that there are still variables from outer space or political conspiracies. But the core issue, the threat from cursed spirits and the conflicts of the Rum Elk land, has been resolved at its root. A new world so beautiful it feels startling, even alien. The fact that the new world appears so gentle, without harsh trade minus-offs, inadvertently diminishes the symbolism of past losses. When pain is healed easily by a miracle named Maru, it dilutes the tragic, realistic identity that the author painstakingly built over many years. We feel lost because we understand that this piece was not bought with blood and bone according to the rules of that world, but was granted by an unfair privilege. Jumotsu Kaisen is compelling because it lacks omnipotent gods to save humanity. We love Julian for his resilience in the face of adversity, and Rose for her sharp edges when cornered. They are just small people trying to struggle against a cruel fate. But in this part of the story, what we get instead is a sweet, hard minus-to-minus believe miracle. And when the inherent cruelty of Jumotsu Kaisen disappears without a convincing reason, I feel that the unique essence of the work has also quietly vanished with this ending. This is just a brief reflection, and if we have time, we will continue to analyze it more deeply in a future video. If you guys feel the same way, or have any other thoughts, feel free to leave a comment for X10 Manga Fresh about this ending. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any lore from the X10 Manga Fresh Den. For now, goodbye, and see you in the next videos.